Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Tonight, we're going to do something a little different. Rather than my usual WPF, we're going to try some Avalonia, and specifically building an Avalonia app. But first, a couple announcement things, and then we will dive in. Let's go here. Okay, so GitHub Universe is coming up. This is a conference from GitHub on all things GitHub related stuff. Shockingly, I imagine Copilot will be featured probably prominently, as is most things. But the important thing, if you would like, the virtual pass is free. So you can watch all of the keynotes, a bunch of the sessions, all online for free. So you can go ahead and sign up for that if you are interested. Coming up at the end of October, what was it? The 28th and 29th of October. And if you are in the San Francisco area or would like to be in person, those are options as well. The other one, .NET Conf, or as I often refer to it, Geek Christmas. This is coming up in November. November 11, 12, and 13. This is going to be some of the streaming times. Like this looks like a 12-hour window. Oftentimes, there's like extra content around it. I don't think they've got a full schedule out. At least last year, kind of like the meat and potatoes was kind of normal day ish for about 5 or 6 hours. And then there's a lot of kind of auxiliary sessions and demos and all kinds of stuff. And there is tons of content here. This is going to be everything that's new in C Sharp, .NET, Aspire. Uh, there will probably be a bunch of Copilot related stuff. All of the goodness. Again, I describe it as Geek Christmas because as a .NET engineer, this is when I find out all of the wonderful presents that I am getting for the next year. So, if you are interested, there is .NET Conf. It's going to be awesome. Check it out online, free. Um, if you are in the local area around me for Spokane, Washington, or if you would like, there are going to be a handful of local events. Well, this is the sign up form to host one. I believe they will probably at some point have a list of local events if you want to try to find one. Some of these may end up being watch parties, some of these may um, be kind of related content to it. I think we're going to host one in Spokane. Don't quote me on that. We will see. So if you are local, stay tuned. Okay, now on to the meat and potatoes of tonight. So there's this repo here. This is where we are going to play. So here's the premise. Um, I enjoy World War II history, and find it very exciting and interesting. And so I got approached to help build a software-based enigma app. And there's several of them out there. So doing that isn't necessarily the hard part. But that's kind of where we're going to start tonight, at least. But the long and term goal is putting together some materials that can be used for STEM outreach, so students that might be interested in it, and kind of feeding a little bit into the cryptography of throwing a bit of history. So there's in theory going to be some other people working on a hardware component of this. Our portion is going to be a simple desktop Avalonia app. Long term, it's hopefully going to be kind of like a 3D exploded out view so that you can actually see all of the connections and how things are working versus just press key, see light, right? We're going to start with the simple press key, see light just to get it working. But long term, we want to kind of get this 3D exploded out view. And that's where we're going, right? So full open source. If anybody's interested, you can follow along. You can star the repo. In fact, I haven't even started. Let's fix that. Boom, first star. I feel like I deserve a cookie or something for that. Okay, next thing. For people who are unfamiliar with Avalonia, there are kind of. So, I'll back up. People who have watched this channel a lot know that I love my WPF. It is a wonderful platform for building Windows desktop apps. It is still supported by Microsoft despite being 2 decades old, and it is still receiving updates, albeit kind of minor ones at this point, but it is still getting updates, which absolutely incredible that you could have something that has docs from 10 years ago and have them still be perfectly valid today. It is incredibly stable. Now, with that said, there's a lot of things that are kind of about it. WPF was invented back at the same time generics were added to C Sharp. So this is kind of welcome Nitanji. I'm probably going to butcher your name. 1001. So it is something, or WPF is kind of shows its age in some areas. A lot of APIs on it, most of them, in fact, there's no generics. The few things that do have generics are things that were kind of updated in the BCL. Um, and so it, WPF inherits all the niceness that comes in the newer .NETs, but like its core libraries, there's only so much that can be done without making it a breaking change. And given its longevity, breaking change is bad. There's lots and lots of code out there that Microsoft isn't going to just break. So there have been this kind of opening for what's going to be the next desktop framework build things in, right? And Microsoft's taken a couple runs at this. There was the UWP stuff. There was WinUI. There was WinUI 2. We're now up to WinUI 3. I usually tell people, because every time a new one comes out, everybody's like, oh, is this going to be the thing that finally kills WPF? And I go, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath. Because WPF, despite its age, has been very stable. And some of these other ones just haven't, like, they've brought niceness to it, but there's always been something that just isn't quite right, something that's a little rough around the edges. WinUI 3 looks like it's getting some really good traction. My biggest complaint is a lot of times you get these really obscure exceptions and they're hard to debug. And then more importantly, there isn't really a cross-platform story. Microsoft has their Maui multi-application UI that kind of gets you there, but Maui works kind of with this weird abstraction layer over the top. So there are kind of two third-party competitors that exist in the space as well, Avalonia and Uno, and those are kind of the two big ones. Avalonia is built around kind of the same idea of technology. You have your XAML for your front end, your C# back end, but it kind of, for me, feels a lot like home because it feels kind of WPF like. You'll note even in their docs, they straight up have a coming from WPF. It's like they knew I was coming and they brought it in. They do have both a paid and a free tier level stuff. So just to be clear, some people don't like that. I kind of like it because it means Avalonia has revenue, which means they aren't likely to die. That's the scary part with third parties is you don't want them to be awesome and then die on you because that's not what we want, right? So they do have their XPF, which is, hey, I want to take my WPF app. I don't want to change my code. I just now want to run it on a Mac. I want to build on the Avalonia system. It drops the WPF core components and brings Avalonia's in, but the rest of your code on top stays the same. Pretty slick. And they do have a bunch of extra dev tools and controls kind of in this paid tier for people who want extra stuff. But if you want the core libraries, that stuff's free. The other thing that's kind of cool, and I don't know if we'll use it here, but some wonderful developer has ported the material design and XAML project to Avalonia. Yeah. Yeah, Hessen, I've fallen for WPF. It strangely feels more powerful than many newer frameworks. There's a reason it's 2 decades old and still getting updates. There is a reason. That and WinForms. Though WinForms, I think a lot of it came from it kind of cornered the market first. I think WPF's better. There's some back and forth debate between, WPF and WinForms engineers, but they both have decades of stuff behind them, which is awesome. Right? But some wonderful engineer has ported the material design and XAML library to Avalonia. Now, I believe he ported a 3.9 version or similar of it just based on some of the APIs. Totally fine. But if you are familiar with my material design and XAML library and want that for Avalonia, this is a good place to start. Right? So we may use it here. We may not. I don't think we're going to drop it in initially. Like there's some stuff that's a little different because it's obviously not going to work the same way. But it is in there. Okay. Last thing I'm going to point out real quick. So there's a bunch of stuff around here inside of Avalonia's docs, and I think they had where is they had a DI thing in here buried in one of these things. Implementation guides. Maybe I'll just search it. Dependency injection. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Implementation guides. There's where I'm at. So they do have kind of this little bit of a setup showing you how to go through and bring in a DI container, largely wrapping this. And I have taken, and it's not fully flushed out, so we may rabbit trail a little bit. We'll see. But I do have an Avalonia solution that I kind of like, that starts plugging some of this stuff in together. So we are going to add this in. I don't know why I have. Oh, I blame Copilot probably hosed me. I have done a lot of work on my templates as of late, so there will be probably some more updates. If you watch the PRs, there's been quite a few Copilot-y inspired PRs adding tons of stuff from different test frameworks, DevOps pipelines, all kinds of awesomeness. So, but we're going to start there, and we are going to start inside of this one. And I believe underneath the software, we're building the Code Breakers one. So this is the premise of what we are going for. So we are going to start with just the initial. I'm trying to remember the versions because there was multiple versions of the Enigma machine. We are starting with the first one that the Germans did with just the 3 rotors. And then at some point we will probably add in stuff to be able to do the Type X and similar. But again, we're gonna start simple, make it work, make it right, make it fast. That's the order we're doing things in. So we are going to see where this goes, and we may add in a simple thing to show it as we type. So let's start here. So let's find our way in. So CD software, app code breakers. I don't know. Let's see here. So we've got. I assume we're supposed to go underneath the SRC directory. Um, we'll find out. Let's see. Exciting to see some Avalonia content. Great platform, but certainly not without its own quirks that make you miss WPF. Yeah, there are a handful of things that get weird. The difference in styles and the lack of triggers. You just you do things a little differently. And there are some things where it feels overall, I think Avalonia feels to me like an upgrade to WPF. However, you are right that there are some things that make me go, I like the way WPF did that better. So that yeah, a little bit of each. Okay, .NET New, Kaboo, Avalonia, and then let's give this a name called Code Breakers. I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll see if we got to rename it later. That's fine. That's not a big deal. Okay, and now I need. Let me get my. Or I wonder should I pull everything up a level? I should pull everything up a level. Let's pull it all up a level. I don't know if it buys us any. Oh, I didn't actually want to replace the README file, so we just go in here. We go in here, come down here, and we go README, discard changes, discard changes. Great. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've got all the new things. Pop this open, and we will see if there is immediate changes that I need because I have not used this template myself in a little while, so there's probably a bit of a hot minute. Hopefully the packages aren't too far out of date. My Dependabot updates them for me. Let's see here, and I think we don't need. We're eventually gonna want Android and iOS, maybe, but they may end up being a slightly different app. So we're going to keep them here for now. But I think I'm going to drop the browser one. But I don't need that. We're going to take the browser out of the mix. Opening another one. Oh, hush. No, stop it. Stop it. Yes. Do what I meant, not what I said. Okay. Go ahead and save. Then we'll pop this guy out. That's fine so far. And then let's go through and we'll just check out a handful of things. Oh, if anybody is using, so something that bit me this last week, and I ended up spending a decent chunk of time running it down. There is a bug if you are running the VS 2026 Insider builds with .NET Aspire and you have a project reference to a simple console app. Very annoying bug. You start your Aspire host, and the console app shows green on the host, but it doesn't actually start. Main never gets invoked. The bug is with hot reload. So there's an issue out on GitHub, and David Fowler replied to it, which is the only reason I figured out what was going on. But you end up having to turn off hot reload for .NET, and that fixes the problem. World War II Enigma. That is correct. That is correct. That is what we are building. We are going to build emulator, simulator. Can't remember. I don't remember the right. Let's see here. Then I need to add in the README because I knew the other one. We'll bring that in. There we go. Yeah, so we're building with Windows Desktop, but with flexibility to target other things later if we want. So we're going to focus entirely on the desktop side of the fence. Then let's launch it to make sure it works. And then we'll start tweaking things. Then we will start tweaking things because we're going to need to go and get some test projects in here as well. Get flow branching strategy. I should probably go enable get flow. Okay, so here we go. Basic app, nothing fancy. Click, 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 click. Huzzah. WinUI 3 still doesn't have a visual designer. Yeah, and and that's where it feels like Microsoft has left the door open for a lot of these other platforms to come into play because they are like, in my opinion, Avalonia and Uno are your. If you wanted to build a cross-platform thick client, those are your top two picks, right? They have pros and cons to each of them. They both kind of run in different directions. Uno just announced this week that they did a little partnership with Microsoft, and I think they committed back to the Android project to add support for, I think, like Android 26 or something like that. I kind of skimmed it. I was picking up some details. Short version, they were helping contribute back, which is cool, right? Like those are the base libraries that Avalonia is built on, that Maui is built on, that Uno is built on. So by getting the more people helping out with it, it just makes it better for everybody, which is great. Okay, so let's start here. Got this. We've got this. I should have all of my. Yes, good. I've got the community toolkit, all the happiness that comes with that. And then let's just check for package updates since I don't know how far out of date I'm going to be. So good. I'm not very far out of date. 136, 137. And I think I have an Avalonia version here. So I can literally just rev all my packages like, or at least all my Avalonia packages with one number change. Figure it out, NuGet Explorer. Figure it out. There you go. And then I don't want preview packages, but I will take both of you. Thank you very much. Okay, so that'll get all of the packages updated. I should have asked what he cared about for test project. Okay, so inside of here, and here we have our first decision point. So I go back and forth on this of a good way to structure your application. This pattern here is one, and by this pattern here, I mean ones with view models and views, right? Like this is a pattern that a lot of people do. One that I've been favoring slightly more is putting my view models next to my views and grouping them according to by area. But maybe it doesn't matter too much. Maybe it doesn't matter too much. Let's focus on getting it working first. Okay. So we're gonna start here. So let me. I thought I had a picture. Did I not have a picture? Let me grab one of these. So because I'm still kind of learning these things here as well. But if we look guys up, oh stop it, computer's not helping me. All right, okay. So here we go. So this is an Enigma machine, right? This guy down here. So the basic idea is you've got your rotors, you've got the is it board. I'm trying to remember what the wire connectors are that are down here. So these allow you to effectively remap one letter to another. When you press a key here, a letter lights up on the corresponding side. So it's 26 letters in, 26 letters out. It's just a straight letter swap cipher. The problem is the cipher changes on every letter. So it's not nearly as trivial as one would hope. And the only other interesting thing about at least these initial versions is you couldn't have the same letter map back to itself. So when you press the A key, there's no way to see an A on the other side. And there's kind of a reason these letters are upside down is oftentimes there would be one person typing out the message and another person watching the letters and recording down the ciphertext. Which is why these are kind of pointed the opposite direction here, right? Because the person typing is usually not the person writing it. But in our case, that's I think how we're going to start. And there's a whole bunch of history and whatnot on there. Very, very, very interesting stuff. So yeah, and this was all like when they did it before, these were physical hardware. But the physical one we're building, we have the benefits of modern technology, which makes it awesome. Okay, and I did flag, I found this one here just because I did a brief look. Like, there's a lot of emulators out there that people have built over the years just as a way of doing it. And there, I like this repo because it linked a couple of them here where you could actually test out um, your thing to see where it goes. And so I was holding on to a couple of these just as a way of saying, you know what, here's at least a reference implementation because I have a strange feeling I'm going to need to test the snot out of this. Um, because it is not always trivial, and I don't know that this code is even correct, but at least it's a somewhat, in my mind, simplistic reference system of how this thing could possibly work. Because I think we're gonna end up building something very similar, but I think I want to model every component. Like we are gonna have the idea of a rotor, but then we're also gonna need to have the wiring as well. Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to explode out a view, and so we're gonna end up needing all of that. So let's start here. Preview process exited unexpectedly. That doesn't sound nice. We'll rebuild. We'll see if that makes it happen. The output window for more details. Why you die? Oh, I just needed to threaten to open the output window. You have an Android JDK error, and I'm just going to ignore it. In fact, I may go as far as to just unload the Android and iOS projects. I don't even have a Mac set up right now to even pull off of, so I couldn't even do the iOS side if I wanted to right now. Okay, so top here, I think what we're gonna do, let's immediately. I love my grids, so we're gonna do something like grid road. Oh, actually, I forgot. Avalonia is even nicer. I can do row definitions just in line here, so we can do something like auto star auto. I think is what we'll do because I think I want to have a text box at the top, a text area at the bottom, and then kind of the stuff in the middle, and then we'll work on making it prettier. It's things like this where you can do this in WPF with like an attached property, but it's not out of the box right now. So it's like, it's be nicer if we didn't have to, fight with that. We're going to throw all of that away. Great. Okay, so let's do a text box at the top. Text, binding, input text, I guess. Let's go and add that. String input text. Go. Get rid of you. And I kind of feel like maybe we just do this as you type rather than running the whole thing at the end. Maybe that's the way we do this. Do something like partial on input text change. I don't know, because that gets weird. Nope, not getting fancy. Let's see. Relay command. Let's do. Sure. Thanks, Copilot. That's not even close to what we want, but yeah, we'll do that. We'll go with that. And then maybe let's do some column definitions of star auto, something like that. And then I want a text block at the bottom, text binding, ciphertext maybe. Again, we're just starting, so we'll figure this out as we go. We'll figure it out as we go. Observable property. Nope. We go. This. Here we go. And we can get rid of the greeting. Nothing's referencing that anymore. Okay. So something like that. And then we'll do, oh, we need to put this at the bottom. So grid row 2. Let's do grid column span. So it goes all the way across. And then we'll do button. Content script, I guess. I don't like the name. Column 1. That. Let's see. Let's see. It doesn't know about the view model property, probably because it hasn't been built yet. Great. So something like that. Something like that. We've got a button there. Okay. Good enough to make it work. Good enough to make it work. Now, I think what I might want to do is I'm really tempted to put all of the Enigma stuff in its own project. Just like normally for an Avalonia app, you can put all of your logic here. I'm just wondering if there's an advantage to having it separated into its own project. Let's do it. Let's do it there. I kind of like the idea of a separate project. So let's go that route. Library, that sounds good. Code breakers. Enigma, maybe? Yeah, that's a good place for it. We'll do that. And then we'll do, I think we're net 9 on all the other things already anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna put the stuff here. File scope namespace. So I do have an editor config and whatnot in here all set up. Yep. So for people who didn't, if people are confused about any of the stuff that the template sets up, check out my last video. Spent the first part of the stream going over at least the WPF template that I have and the features in there. Most of the features in that WPF one apply to a lot of the other. Well, okay, so what do we call it? I think we do this. Okay. Do we let Copilot go to town on this? That's that. Tempted. I'm tempted to see how much it knows. Game. Let's find out. Let's see. Okay, Copilot. Here's your chance to shine. I want to implement a Model 1 Enigma machine. This project. We'll see what it says. What it says. Um, Not a lot. Plugboard, reflector is enigma to orchestrate. Let me implement these components. Maybe like there's enough information out there. I will not be too shocked if it pulls this off. Okay. Okay. So how is it doing? See, this is what I didn't want to go look up. Is all the individual letter mappings for each of the rotors? Because on each rotor there is a effectively a letter mapping between each of them. Is that notch? Isn't bad. Izzy, welcome. Exactly who I needed. What do you like for a testing framework? Do you have a preference? You care? Holy crap. Holy crap, Copilot. Color me impressed. Mod, hold on. What is this doing? Mod 26. It's taking a value, modulus 26, adding 26 to it, and then modulusing it 26 again. That doesn't do anything, does it? Hang on. I don't really mind. Okay, cool. I don't know if I do either. I'm trying to decide. My default settings have been X unit or T unit. It's just kind of my go-tos in a lot of cases. There's pros and cons to each of them. I'm not an idiot, right? Like this, if you take a number, modulus by X, then add X, and then modulus X again, this bit does nothing. Don't you get the same number back? Okay, well, let me do this in my head. If value is 1, 1 mod 26 is 1, plus 26 is 27, modulus 26 is 1 again. I'm used to using N unit, but started to look at X unit. Okay, well maybe we go X unit then, because like I don't have a strong preference in like any of them. My muscle memory is all in like X unit, MS test, T unit. MS test just feels like I do a lot of extra typing. This feels like I don't. I'm very confused, Copilot. I do not understand why we need this. Because if I have the number 27, 27 mod 26 is 1, plus 26 again. Like, because you modulus the number, you're guaranteed to get a number between 0 and 25, right? Yes. Because, yeah, you get 0. Okay. And then add 26 and then modulus 26. I'm very confused. I'm very confused, Copilot. This feels like the hardest possible way to do this. Great. We're gonna keep it because it's better than what I had, which was nothing. And now we're gonna clean some stuff up because Copilot, you're very helpful, but you're also an idiot. So we're gonna. I think what I want to do first is start writing some test. Yeah, what is that supposed to be doing? Izzy, I don't know. I just asked it to implement an enigma machine for me, and it went to town. And I probably should read some of the output from this because it looks like it's interesting. But I think I'm gonna just write some tests instead. AI says it gives you a fraction between 0 and 1, not an integer between 1 and 25. I think AI is wrong. But yeah, my brain is frying looking at this going, what? So we'll check it here in a moment. Okay. So like okay, so oh, great. It implemented an example for me. Holy crap. Just showing off Copilot. Okay. Oh my word, Copilot, you are freaking insane. Now, I'm impressed. Holy cow. I don't know why an Enigma machine would need to mod anything. I mostly agree. The only thing that I think it's probably doing is because there's 26 letters, I think it's just ensuring that it doesn't walk off the end of the array. I think. Now, I personally, when I modulus by a value, I go modulus and then the number. And I honestly kind of don't like this 26 because 26 is only an artifact of the fact that there's 26 letters in the alphabet, but it doesn't have to be constrained to 26. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. So it's got to create model, takes the rotor order, rotor positions, ring settings, reflector type. Oh, I want to look at the reflector types. Look at that. Holy cow. Actually, do target type new on the whole project for me. Thanks. Because there's a handful of these things where I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Enigma was just 26. A to Z only. Yeah, it got all of these here. Null or empty or 26. Okay. That's fine, I guess. Um, okay. It feels like it's just literally done all the work for me. Okay. I can't abide bad code though, Copilot. We got to clean up. I got to clean up a little bit of this because some of this needs to not be weird. Okay. Let's up the pair. Letter already connected. I don't think it blocks it from connecting to itself, which is does it. Remove empty entries. It's also weird the way it's implemented this with a very much a string based approach, but I guess that's okay, right? Like I personally feel like I want to pass in like a collection of these pairs rather than assuming that they're all space separated. But that's kind of a minor thing at the moment. Swaps the letter if it's connected to the pegboard. I also want to make sure that you can't pass in like in something like that, right? Like I don't like from a code perspective that doesn't do anything because it would just map it to itself. But from a practical perspective, you can't plug both ends of a wire into the same hole. So it just logically doesn't make sense. Okay. There's that. There's that. Okay. Well, the nice part is this thing has literally written the code for me. So, I mean, let's do it, I guess. Why are you not opening? Do? Interesting. Why the double click isn't opening there. Okay, so we need to add a reference to there. Yeah, Izzy, I don't know if you have preferences on how I structure this or how I lay it out or any of that stuff. So I'm kind of guessing. If you don't like it, I am not attached to any of it. You can burn any of the code to the ground that you don't like. Uh, and then I think, let's see, because there's the plain text, there's the ciphertext, and then resets the rotor positions back, but we don't care because we're about to throw this thing away. Okay, and then we are going to do something like can execute gets name of Get an AI overload to add a type X version of the code. Yeah, believe me, I think my first. So we're gonna do it in the UI first, just to prove to myself that it's not completely broken, and then I'm gonna go write some tests because this absolutely needs some tests. Let's see, and then we need to notify can execute change for the command, blah, blah, and then that works. Not too fussed with structure. Okay, I want you to remember you said that though. Sometimes giving me freedom is not a good thing. Okay, so that works there. That overrides that. I mean, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works, or at least if it does a thing. All right, so we come in here. Let's go with, as we always start, hello world is obviously the only text to lead with. Uh, uh, oh, I didn't bind. I bet you I didn't bind the button to anything. Hang on. It turns out if you don't bind the button to anything. Let's see. MVVM Toolkit IntelliSense says partial property is recommended over doing underscore input text. Makes sense? Yes, if you are on a new enough version of C# that supports partial properties. So that is a new C# language feature. So as long as you are on a new enough version, I think that comes out in Lang version 13. We'll check. So if you have Lang version 13 or better, yeah, which version is this in? Let's see. That doesn't tell me. Do this. What's new in C#? I think it's 13. Yeah, partial properties and indexers. So you have to be on C# Lang version 13 or newer. And I don't know if it's IntelliSense flagging you. The MVVM toolkit, they bundle in a bunch of analyzers as well. And so I imagine they are probably looking at that. My muscle memory does the field based one, but there's no reason I couldn't update it to the partial property. Got it. That sounds good, Izzy. Like my goal is to I'm thinking I'm going to do a very simplistic UI that basically just matches kind of some of those other emulators just to get the sucker working, and then we'll work on the make it pretty. So I'm going on the make it work, make it right, make it fast. This is the make it work step. That's my premise that I'm operating under at the moment. I want that one. Thank you. And actually, we can go because I have. Let me check. I'm fairly confident because there's no reason I can't just bump this thing up. Yeah, I'm on Lang version 13. Because I am making the assumption, Izzy, that come next month, I rev this sucker to net 10. I may do it early, but at least come next November. So let's see here. We can do. So it's public, partial. I think it looks like that. My one stop debugging. What is your problem? Trying to remember, or do I drop the public and just do partial? Trying to remember how this goes. See, my muscle memory is not there. No, don't help me. Do it now. Net 10 rec is supported, isn't it? Yes. So the RC is, they do have, I'm trying to remember what they call it, go live support. But it's under the assumption that you rev it up. But yeah, we can bump it. Partial class is my. Let's go look. Let's see. VM toolkit partial properties. This is a new. Yeah, public partial string. V8 stable. Yeah. Protected set. What am I missing? Let's see. Public partial string input text get set. Trying to figure out what it's yelling at me for. Oh. This guy. Do they have a page for it? Yeah, this guy here. It's because they're using the new field keyword to make this possible. That's why. So it's not Lang version 13, it's Lang version preview. Screw it. Okay, we're going there. Rebuild makes the air go away. That's it. Yeah, I think it is probably my props file here because my template is currently set there. And if I bump this sucker up, and then it goes away. Okay. We can do that. Public, partial, property, proper. I don't know why I'm typing property to begin with. An idiot. That, we'll do that, we'll do that. Yep, and then the design time build catches up and cleans it up. Okay, great. Now that we got this thing going. Oh, I should actually, I forgot to plug the. Fuck. Fuck. There is, so speaking of new C# features, because everybody loves new C# features. Hey, look, me. I am giving a talk on everything that is coming out that is new in .NET. So this is going to be your C# 14 and your .NET 10. It is scheduled for 90 minutes. I'm going to be busting through the content. So last year I did a similar talk, and there wasn't like last year was kind of a disappointing release in terms of C# features. This year, not a disappointing release as long as they don't yank anything. It looks awesome. There's going to be tons of stuff. So if you are interested, December 2nd, this is after .NET Conf. So by this point, I will not be running preview bits. I will be running GA bits. And it will be showing off all of the cool stuff that's in there. And it will be streamed. It's a hybrid event. So if you are not local and are interested, and if this time slot doesn't work for you because of time zone shenanigans, it will be up on Intellitek's YouTube after the fact. So I will post that, and I will probably post it on my socials as well when it goes live. So if anybody is interested, that is a thing. It exists, and it would be cool if people wanted to join in. So, but it will be there. Okay. Okay. So we got that. We got that, and my app. Just noticed I need to change the default window size because that is let's see, width. Um, tiny. Tiny will do. When I launch, it keeps launching on my main window and it keeps launching big because my secondary monitor is a lot bigger than the screen that I stream on. There we go. That's a lot nicer. Okay. Hello, world. Correct. Now the question, is that right? It did a thing. It took some text in. It made some text come out. I almost had to think. Now, I would like grab. Where is this? There was this one. Let's see, because this here. Okay, I got to look at what our default configuration is. So we did the default configuration. It'd be okay. No plug board pairs. The fact that this is, and I realize the casing is irrelevant. Is that what we generated? No. Makes me a little confused. I don't think casing matters, right? Yeah, it's two uppering all the things. But I feel like I want one in English. That would make me feel a lot better if I had an English one that I knew what I was clicking on. Okay. This is an okay. How do I know? Oh, is it actually going to make me type? HLLO. Hey, look at that. That's kind of scary. W. That's kind of scary. I don't like it when it works the first try. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy. I don't like warm and fuzzy. Interesting. Okay. 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 So that's cool. I immediately don't trust it. It's a fume. Um, and I now immediately need a unit test project because I cannot tolerate. I heard X unit was cool. X unit test project. It's a fluke. I know. I don't trust it. I just uh just do not trust it at all. Okay. Go there, go there. Oh, I just realized this thing probably has stuff set on it. Yeah, we don't need any of that. And then here, don't need any of that. And then I need to move these things into my centralized package. Actually, you know what? Copilot. Move these to centralized package. Yeah, try setting. Is he? No, no, no. Test first. Then we do scary things. Do the right thing over here. Good. You even alphabetize the packages. Good, Copilot. Oh, you're gonna compile and make and check your work. Boy, I was just gonna let you have it for free. Now keep that. Thank you. Build successful. Thank you. Good pull, Copilot. Go away now. Now let the real engineer work. Okay, because I do not trust it to write the code and the tests. I cannot abide by that. That just no, 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 no. So this guy, we're gonna actually. I'm gonna leave an obsolete attribute on him for now. Let's see. Remove later when no longer looking at it. Reference. I just don't want to forget and let it live too long. It's mildly convenient now, but I want to be able to have this. Okay. So we're gonna do this guy here. Ooh, big head's in the way, but I don't think it's that bad. Not yet, at least. Okay, so we tested the machine. Save. We are effectively looking to bring in what does the API look like here? We actually have a create model 1 static, but I think this is just splitting up and setting up the constructor. Yeah. Okay, so I think what I actually want to test is encrypt character and encrypt. I think are the key ones that need to be tested here. And the other things get tested implicitly on the way through. Okay. Script with string outputs expected cipher text. String input string expected cipher. Okay. Then we are going to start here, and then we are going to start moving things around. So this becomes a theory. This becomes input data or inline data. So we're going to start with hello world, and then we'll hit some casing things here in a minute. And then I am not going to trust my own. Away. I would like this guy here. There. And so we are going to lean very heavily on the create model 1. Actually, I guess we should create model 1 encrypt with string because I think that's important. Oh, and we need a reference from our test project to our target project. Let's see, enigma machine. Stop showing off, Copilot. Knock it off. Knock it off. You don't know. Stop it. Don't get to help. You wrote the code, which means I don't trust you. I don't trust you that much. Okay, so this test theory, bottom first. At the end of the day, what I'd love to have is a handful of these tests so that I know as I'm changing things, I'm not breaking it. Great. Inline data, enigma machine. That sounds like a great test as well. I am not going to trust you. I'm going to come over here. Is there a way to type into this? Or I just have to go the other ig. Is that right? Did I even spell that right? Spelling's hard. Machine. Adding an extra E in there. Clear. Oh, and the rotors weren't set to the same starting position. Need to have all the rotors in the same starting position. Apply settings. Okay. Boy, boy. Ooh, you could let AI write the test and then add striker.net to test the test. Wow, Izzy, you are really, that is some meta level crap. I like the idea though. Um, that is kind of some crazy stuff. That is kind of some crazy stuff, but I kind of like the idea. Let's see. Getting started. .NET Framework specifics. Installed .NET CLI as a tool. You have what's the install command? Okay. We're going to do this, but I think what we're going to do is I am not going to do it as a global tool. I'm going to do it as a local tool. I'm trying to remember the create manifest if needed. I have a slight preference to having things as local tools in the repos that need them. That way other people don't have to magically know all of the tools that need to be installed. Because for people unfamiliar with this, what this ends up getting us is this .NET tools.json. Quiet for a bit, driving to get my morning coffee. Go get your coffee, Izzy. Let's see. Install in a project. Oh, yeah. Effectively exactly what they just proposed here. Let's kill some mutants. .NET Striker. Okay. Well, this looks pretty easy. Most projects, no configure is niche. Simply run Striker and it will find your source project to mutate. Okay. Okay. Write me some stuff. And then we're going to go try this because I haven't done a ton of mutation testing. This is kind of a new area for me. That's not what we want. That's not what we want. I want a different branch here. So, let's see. So Izzy likes get flow, and believe if I go here, I can do initialize get flow. And get flow has been initialized. Good. I can go exit, and I think if I just reset develop mixed, not hard, that would be bad, right? And then I should be able to go here, and then here that I do. Trying to remember the incantation. Start feature. App. Well, that route. Yeah. Go ahead and think about what you've done. There we go. So it's now built this up. Stage. And then this should get us going. Because Kraken, for people who are using GetFlow, Kraken can help a little bit with getting all of those things in place. Okay, just before we get too carried away. Okay, because I haven't done this before, now we let Striker loose on it. Let's see, failed to mutate your project. No CS proj. Please check your project. Okay, so let's go into the correct directory for it. And try again. Analyzing one test project. There is only one test in there. Because this might be a very clever way of doing this, because I might then allow, let's see, number of tests. Let's see, there is a test failure. That's probably because I can't type the word enigma machine. So let's actually fix the test so that it passes. And then I need my, there. That's reset. So enigma, MACHIN, just like a real boy. Okay, and then we come back here, put this in here, and Enigma didn't really have these spaces in it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll test this here. Hold on. Can I not count? Did I put the space in the wrong place? N I G M. Oh, yep, I put the space in the wrong spot. Can't count. Okay. Rinse, repeat, try one more time. Great. Okay. So we're going to pretend like we didn't screw that up. Amend, commit, amend. I saw no mistakes. Perfect. There were no mistakes. Everything works great. Okay. Copilot, come here and help me. Let's see here, because I think you have some fancy tests. For enigma. Let's see. Please write the test for enigma machine. We'll give it the appropriate file. It'll probably go get it itself, but let me type that one. There you go. Yeah, go. See how well it does. Because then at some point we got to go through and add in things like GitHub Actions, similar. Now create a comprehensive test suite covering all functionality. Great. See how well we'll see how well it does. Because if it does a decent job, we'll turn it loose on the other ones. Because for the most part, it didn't do a bad job. Okay, I do want to test that mod thing while it's thinking about itself, right? I'm not an idiot. I don't think I am, but class. Come on. Why does this not have? I thought there was a. Maybe it's changed on me. Okay, so I just wanna, because I'm doubting myself, and I don't like doubting myself. No. Theory. Public void testing wat. Right? Int input, int expected. Right? I posit inline data. If I pass in a 1, I get a 1. If I pass in a 26, I get a 0. If I pass in a 27, I get a 1. Right? So assert wool, and then input mod 26 input. Oh, no. Expected. Right? And then I also put it to you that that it is also expected equals input modulus 26. I put it to you that those are identical. This test passes, I'm going to be... See? It's an idiot. Is there an edge case I'm missing? Like, right? Like, oh, Copilot's compiling. 0 should be 0, right? Like a negative thing? Is that the use case? Well, the thing is, it's starting on the inside. So value plus 26 mod 26 makes sense. No, I'm positing that this entire function could be replaced with that, right? Rather than needing to do this, I don't understand why. Like, it knows it's modulus 26, and I'm trying to understand what. Actually, you know what? Copilot's done here. We'll ask it to explain itself because I don't understand. I don't understand why you need the plus 26 mod 26. I don't know what use case that covers. It feels like these are equal. And at least with this test data, it is. Probably a bug. I agree, but this is AI is making me second guess myself. Like, I'd like to think that I know a little bit of math. Not a lot, but a little. And it bothers me. It very much bothers me. Let's see. Let's run the tests again. Okay, so it's clearly done. I see there's still initial okay. What is it fighting with? Oh. Actually, there is something else that we could while we're waiting. Think let's while it's thinking about this. My here's a little preview of my office. That's the door into to where I'm sitting right now. I am building a bookcase, and a bookcase swings, and it makes me happy. So I will have a secret door. Lovely. Okay, what'd you come up with, Copilot? You done? Oh boy. Um, let's see. Constructor tests, encrypt char tests. The fact that I see 9 tests, 8 tests, I hope you data drove these. Rotor stepping tests, rotor position tests, create Model 1 factory tests, historical accuracy tests, integration tests. All tests follow XUnit best practices with a range act assert pattern, descriptive test names, inline comments explaining. Yeah, I will be the judge of that, Copilot. Okay. While you're here, no. What is the I can't remember what's the shortcut. Alt forward slash. Explain this code. The mod 26 function needed. Is there a case where additional plus 26 mod 26 is You're not a man if you don't dream of having at least one secret passage in your house. Yes, you are 100% correct. I will say though, it was technically my wife's idea when we were redoing our basement and we were trying to figure out layout and whatnot. She's like, it would be really cool to have. She has grand ideas, and she's the type of person who will go through Pinterest or whatever and bookmark things. Let's see. So negative. So it's for the negative number case. Because 5 mod 26 equals 5. Yeah, negative 5 comes out differently. All your test case use non-negative numbers so they don't reveal the difference. Both approved as a test. Try adding. So this is all for the negative number function. Interesting. Interesting. Um, I would posit Copilot. This is a more I want a full body mirror with a secret passage behind it, and make it a one-way mirror room. See, that would be cool. That would be cool. Because the house I live in is very quirky. Is probably the closest word. Like it's a modern Victorian style home, and I say modern because it was built in 91, so it has newer like wiring, plumbing in it, but it is very much built to look old. Um, Actually, maybe let's take this out for a second. What I want to do is math ABS this, right? We're going to go up here because it suggested negative 25, 25 as the test. So we'll follow that. Yeah, quirky is good. Then it's harder to find the secret passages. Yes, exactly. If people know that there's, dead space somewhere, it becomes much more obvious. My sister recently purchased a new house and they found an entire secret room in it that was intentionally hidden at one point. Like the realtor had no idea it was there. But they were staring at a wall going, boy, it feels like there should be more space here. So the contractor took his drill and they punched around. Then they found the hidden opening for it. So, um, are you going to hook up a Raspberry Pi so that one of the books on the bookshelf is the trigger when you pull on it? Good question. The I have been very apprehensive to put any latching mechanism on it that could potentially break and leave me locked inside because this room has no other exits but that doorway. And so I've been a little hesitant to like because there's I've seen ones where you can hook up like this little pulley system with a wire or similar, and it's yeah. As long as it's not a secret room hidden behind a concrete wall in a basement. I've seen enough horror movies to know that means get out. Yeah. So this is in the basement, and my other walls are concrete. So technically, the wall left and right of the door is just sheetrock and studs. But yeah, like I'm a little apprehensive to put any locking mechanism on there that could potentially fail and leave me locked in here. That part terrifies me. So it may not. What we might end up doing is just a little ball spring mechanism so that there's a nice like latch thing, but not something that would lock where all you have to do is shove it and then it'll open. Because the other thing is, like, I built that bookshelf kind of sturdy. Like it'll hold up. Let's see. Oh, interesting. So this fails here. Expected 25. No, output is expected to be 1. Okay, I'm just dumb. No? Oh, so they are different. Okay, fine, Copilot. I'll let you keep it. But I'm gonna go put a comment on it because future Kevin will not remember this, and I need to remember this. Let's see here. The additional plus 26 mod 26 to handle the negative value errors. The result always 0 25. There we go. Okay, something like that. There we go. Something about like that. What are you flagging me for here? Uh Auto property. What I'd really like to do is that. Do that instead. I mean, if we're gonna be using preview bits, like we're using preview bits. There we go. So, spoiler for anybody who doesn't want to wait for the user group in December. One of the new cool things added to Sharp 14 is the field keyword. And it is a contextual keyword that is only valid inside the getter and setter blocks of a property, but it does effectively a replacement with the compiler generated field for the property so that you can have a way of referencing it and you don't expose the field outside. Because having a field declared out here, you're just kind of required to be on your best behavior and not access it outside the property if that's its intent. So this gives you a way to just not have it exist and then you don't have to worry about it. That goes there. Okay, so let's see what Copilot did. Let's go look at some tests. Okay. Yeah. Keep all tests. There you go. Run them. I'll pass. And now we turn Striker loose on it. And we see how that does. Because like I said, I'm kind of curious as to how this goes. Number of tests found 72. Internal error to a compiler. Uh-oh. Oh, is it trying to compile? Oh. Look at that. It's trying to run a compile and is clearly not landing on the right .NET version. Where? Oh, I don't have my global.json. Oh, and we should really be on 306. So there is a grab it real quick. Something that got sent to me earlier today because I had a lovely. Is that it? Where is it? This this there is a out. Yeah, this guy. In case you haven't seen it, and most people probably don't have to make it point to the right places. Oh, cool. Thanks, Izzy. Um, for anybody out running versions of .NET, you can see there's a bunch of vulnerable versions, i.e., why you should update. The key one to fix a lot of these is just to if you're on the 9.0 SDK, be on 9.0 to 306. I know some of my older projects had issues unless you use big file. Because you're talking about this. So they won't have to be passed to the CLI. Configuration page. Great. Now, does it support SLNX? It can be supplied to help with dependency resolution. They didn't find it out of the gate, so I'm guessing it doesn't have SLNX support yet. Let's see here. Go here. Does anyone have an issue? Or is there anything about SLNX in here? SLNX support. Ha ha ha. Support would need to be added to Buildalizer. Looks like someone started on it. What I heard is subscribe to this issue. Because this is April. And this guy here. continue with this. Yeah, so there's work being done on some of these. Okay. Well, it's at least coming. And I could dial it back down to the SLN format if we. That wouldn't be the end of the world. But I guess we'll see if we actually need. Because does it need. On framework projects, the path is always required. Great. Um, uh, Without specifying any custom configuration, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so we'll add one. If I go up to the root then, because I do have an issue of, do I have the ability to specify a, oh, what's that, Lang version? C sharp version 1 is not supported. Who the heck needs that? Okay, fine. Um, okay, so let's spin one of these things then real quick. But I think what I want to do is, before I get too carried away, .NET dash list. Um, let's go this. And then there is a Boolean on here that you have to set that's like allow pre-release true. Okay, so that should make compilation a little ugly, but I'm kind of excited to learn this because I have not done this before. Okay, so we are going to add new item called striker big.json, I believe. Go to the top. Striker big.json. That looks right, but we're just going to paste because then I can't mess it up. Yeah, add. Great. And then I think we can come in here. Oh, you can do it in YAML too. Ugh. Doesn't make me feel fuzzy. I like JSON. Okay. So we're going to drop that. And we're going to go with code breaker enigma.test. Same thing doubled over that. So I think then what that means is I can go up here. Then I can still run .NET Striker. Oh, because it put the config down one level deeper, didn't it? Config's right there. I think. There we go. Needed to restore at the right level. Let's see. And then when you invoke it, do you have to pass the config to it? Let's see. .NET Striker solution. Test project. One get the config. Does it not just pick it up? How does one pass? Provide a config name. Oh, dash F or dash dash config. Like, let's see, dash F. That maybe. There's like it didn't pick it up. Let's just dash dash help. See what back with. How do I send you config file? At dash F. Config file relative path. Oh, is the config file not up at the root? Kind of thought it was. SRC. Wrong here. So it clearly supports a dash F to the config file. Default striker config.json. Right? So I see striker config. I'm not typoing, right? Not too crazy. I think I'm there. Project directory. It's like it's not it. Let's see. Build path, target framework. Fine, I think. Yeah, I'm confused. I don't understand how to pass the config file. Head back down because I think probably okay here. I think all I need to do though is because it has support for specifying target framework. I'm wondering if I just need to do that at 10. If that makes any difference. Oh, but my project's still targeting net 9. See what it does. Still chokes and falls over. Okay, so I think even though we've got the newer stuff, it's still reliant on older building things. So let's go back in, and I think I'm going to just get rid of that field key. I want to get rid of everything, but I do want to get rid of this. Start selection. Okay. That'll probably get us most. Oh, get the framework bit off of there. Because it seems like if they are using that third party to compile, we are going to be somewhat limited by what lang version they can compile to. Because I assume they are using the Roslyn compiler comes via NuGet package. You can actually go through and reference it, which is what you end up referencing when you build like an analyzer or a source generator. But it does limit you. So until they put out a version that actually has the latest Lang version stuff in it, you probably should avoid net net too much net 10 stuff because there's a difference between things that require the updated framework and things that require ooh, build 93. Final mutation score is ooh. This is kind of interesting. How so I see the little dots. Oh. This is not covered, survived, killing. Interesting. Oh, this I don't care about the examples, but like plugboard I care about. String mutation, no coverage. Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting. Izzy, I might need your wisdom on how to interpret these results better. This is cool though. Okay. In that case, we're gonna turn the sucker loose. Let's see here. Great. Now do tests for plugboard, selector, and rotor. Great. That sucker loose. Let him go and have fun. Wait a minute. What happened? Here's why this thing is showing a compile error. Something that should be fairly simple and straightforward. I am thinking that I may want to dial this back. Not you. We may want to go down here. I have a feeling we are about to get bit big time if we don't. Because there's a number of things that can bite you. Just ordering my coffee. What wisdom do I need to recall? So I ran the lovely striker report, and I think the wisdom I want is how to properly interpret this. And I'm now turning Copilot loose to finish out the test because I don't care about enigma examples. That one doesn't matter to me. At least one test failed while these mutants were active. So, because I'm not entirely clear how to read this report here of when this code, because correct me if I'm wrong, if you click on one of the files in the list, right? So if I pick on plugboard here. Oh, I see. If you click on this, it shows how it was mutated. Oh, that's what I was missing. You can see the mutation that it made. Got it. So it actually went through and replaced his null or white space with the various comparisons, see which tests potentially were failing on it. Oh, got it. There. Oh, this is slick. I should have been using this a lot sooner. This is really cool, Izzy. I might have to add this to my templates. I'm just trying to decide where the right place is to put it. I think I might need to look at their outputs because they must have an output for like doing this inside of Sonar Cube integration stats. Ah ha 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 ha. That is kind of cool. Okay. I'll have to look at their outputs because it feels like something that I might want to really good to find bad tests, missing tests, redundant code, etc. Yeah, I believe that. I absolutely believe that. Okay. So I think the magical thing that I just was missing was you got to click the dots, you idiot. So I almost want to uncheck these boxes and look at which one was the no coverage. Right. Well, and I don't know if I care that much about this one showing no coverage yet because I haven't. Oh, this one was here. There was no coverage down on the 2-string -1. I wonder. So let's see. What is it parsing? Ring settings. Settings. Wait, how is that? This is the convert to upper of the char. Parse it as an int. Oh, because it has to pass the is digit. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Done yet, Copilot? I heard keep. Thank you. Okay, so 188 tests later, we have what looks to be a working enigma set of tests. So we're gonna do this and let Copilot. Well, we're gonna let Gemini write a commit message that for code that Copilot wrote. So there's no way that this goes poorly for me. Okay, so now that we've got that, I think what we need to do is now start to expose this back because ultimately, like even if I look, if I just pick on the where is it? Right, like this one here ultimately shows the rotor changes, and I think that's what we want to see is the rotor changes as they go through. And so at minimum, I think now we want to flap in the rotor into our desktop app. It's actually up here, view models. Because once we have our Enigma machine, the very end machine, do you get rotor positions? Right, so we want to, I think, not necessarily expose this out. I don't like this mechanism as much. I feel like what I want to do is actually expose up the rotor class. Because this is position as int. Um, I I think what I actually want to do is actually expose it. Uh, this is where you will need test to cover various lengths of input to tell which rotor rotate and by how much. Yeah, this is where I think the data driven tests where let me ask this question, Izzy. Where is sent me? I think sent me a link at one point to a reasonable Enigma emulator because that's the hard part for me is figuring out knowing when I am correct because that's what I really want is effectively a corpus of data of what all of the things are so that I could just start testing them. That's what's going to give me the most confidence. Okay, so I think what I want to do here though is I want to expose the rotors. The rotors, well, I want to expose a version of the rotors at least. Maybe I should put an interface on them and expose that out because I'm not sure I want to expose. everything? Well, but maybe I do. Maybe that's not that bad. Maybe I do want to expose out the whole rotor. It's just this I don't like. So I think what I want to do is give myself a on the rotor class. I want to give myself a computed property that gives me the letter variant of it. Um, Probably use a wrapper for testing. You can buy a wrapper, is it? Let's see. I'm gonna do public char. I think we're just gonna do that way. I have something of this nature. And then on my Enigma machine, I actually want to expose out these things to this field. I think I can make it's read only. Of course, I can make it property. So I think what I want to do is public. Actually, maybe this is a good question. Are we going to need to support more than 3 rotors? Oh, um, so what I mean by I want it exposed is I want it exposed for the purpose of the view models being able to read the values, because at some point I want to be able to start putting together UIs more like this, which is going to require having something that can keep track of rotor positions. And the rotor itself is the easiest way to do it, I think. Because I'm thinking something of this nature. Because it does leave it potentially exposed for a caller to call into it, but I think that's okay. Because one, I can hide things away like this, right? But some of these things I think I'm not sure I actually care to hide it away, because if we have but it was updated to V2 that had 5. Yeah, that's what I was seeing, and I'm wondering if we probably I'm wondering if just having individual rotors is the right way to do it. But it was updated in V2 that had 5, but they only had 8 to choose from. Right. So correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Izzy. They had a box of 8 different rotors, and the first one only accepted 3 rotors in the machine itself, but then later variants they would put 5 of them in, just as a way of adding even more complexity to all of this. Okay, so maybe I want to actually make this thing. Well, do I care though? Maybe it actually makes more sense that this represents a Model 1, and then we have a separate class for a Model 2, Model 3, because that actually is probably not a bad way of doing it. A separate Enigma machine class per model. That's actually probably better. I think I like that better. I think I like that better. Okay, so we're going to do something more akin to that. That way, when we get around to adding those, right? Okay, so that gets me to there, that gets me to there, that gets me to there. That exposes the rotors, yada, yada, yada. Great. And then I can pull those things back. Now, if I go up here, what I would like to do, yeah, the Type X, which is the British version. Yeah, after we did talked about it, Izzy, I went and watched a bunch of YouTube videos and read some papers and whatnot. You somewhat addicted me, and that's not a good thing. I don't need more projects, darn it. But I did agree to this one. So then there's my new digital version. Yes, but your new digital version is like all the versions mashed into one, which is no less cool, just to be clear. No less cool. Okay, so we've got that. Now I want to go here, and I want to go here, and now I need something used to represent the rotors. What do I got at my disposal? Or before I go looking at any extra libraries, where is the control set built-in? What do I got in here that would... I want something that's akin to an up-downy thingy. Button spinner? Right? Could work. Not thrilled with it. But this is the make it work point. Yeah, button spinner's probably just as good, because otherwise I'm going to do a combo box or something stupid. At least this feels like it's got a... Let's see. Does it have wraparoundy locations? I'm toying with the idea to make my new one have Ethernet with various input APIs, so it can auto encode, decode, and send messages as a WhatsApp plugin. Okay, now you're jumping off the deep end. Uh, that like, frankly, that would be bloody cool though. That would be absolutely amazing. You know, I was actually just looking into this earlier. Azure Communication Services has the ability to interface with WhatsApp. It also will do like email and SMS, so you could do some really insane stuff. Video, voice calling, SMS, DK. Where is it? I was looking at it earlier. It would be kind of slick to plug something like that in. Like holy cow! Now that would be fun. Not full end-to-end encryption, but it sure certainly feels cool. Okay, so sorry. Button spinners. We're on button spinners. Let's see. Allow spin. I think that's okay. I was just kind of looking to see how I limit its wraparound. Like, do I have to do it myself, or can I give it like a min max? Is what I was hoping to find. Um, a valid spin direction. I think I can just wrap it around. Okay, so let's do this. Private, read only. Uh, Enigma machine, we're gonna do that. But you have to spell read only correctly for that to work. Same with Enigma. Okay, I can't spell. Help me. Okay. Um, so we're gonna go here, and that goes in there. Then I think what we can do here. I almost want to be notified when the rotors change so that I can see them go. Almost cooler. Well, for now, Um, I guess we do a value converter and expose it up as an int. I'm trying to think because right now I can do enigma machine, right? Left rotor dot position or position character, but I'm now wondering. I expose position character, but I'm wondering if position's actually what I want to expose, and just wrap it with a because the value coming in. We'll try this. And it's just for anybody who's confused why I can get away with this, but not the field keyword. This is a different project than what the test project is going against. Let's see. Left rotor. And if I make this an int, that goes there. Stop your whining. Right, and then we go here, and then we go. I think I'm gonna just do a stack panel station horizontal. Then I want to grab one of those button spinners things. Those look cool. Grab a button spinner. What was the value property on this thing? I get the value. What are you tied to? Value. Value. Gets our sets of value. Yeah, that's not it. Helpful. I need value in the left side. Where is the value of this thing? Button should tab index tab the value. X. Oh, is it just straight content? Is that the value that it goes into? Content. Binding. Oh, I did expose. Rotor position. Right, and this is where I think I can get away with a value converter. Right, and so here add new item. Rotor position. And if I remember right, there's actually a because there's a something clever, if I remember right, in here on the value converters. I'm missing something. Let's see. Other conversion examples. Data binding. That's not it. Yeah. There was something in here I'm remembering the back of my mind where there was a very clever trick with these. Don't. Yeah, func value converter. Yeah, this was the clever trick. You don't need full converters with Avalonia. You can do them as functions. With this. This is what I was remembering. I knew there was something in here about this. You can't always remember it. Let's do rotor converters. Let's see. Click static, right? And then it goes like this. Drop that off. That, and then This is going to be coming in as an int. Want it to come out as a string. Uh, I am wondering if we are going to need both directions though, because we're going to spin it and then we're going to need it to go the other direction. Oh, we probably do need it to go both. How is it? I'm actually curious. How does this button spinner work then? Because that is content. Does it just try to increment, decrement the content? Like, what's it going to do if I put an A in there? Let's just do a button spinner with a thingy. I don't know what it's going to do. If I give it an A, will it button spin A? Like if I do that, button spinner. There. Oh. Uh grid row 1. Let's see. Vertical alignment top. If I do this, because I probably shouldn't try to click on it in the designer. Didn't expect that to work. But I'm like I don't know how, like it's possible it does it. Yeah, I'm not exactly surprised. If I put a 1 in here. Um I have a feeling I'm gonna need to like style or similar this, right? Does oh, that doesn't work either. Do I have to implement their commands on here? Okay, I don't understand this control. Um, like how do it know when to do the thing? Yeah, I'm very very confused. So nice that it has this button spinner. Button click. Spin direction on spin. So it raises on spin. Then you're just supposed to handle it. So checks the spin direction, validates that the direction is allowed, then raises the event. So you just are expected to handle spin event to do the needful. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. In that case, if that's the case, I think what I want to do, stop debug. I think I just want to build a little wrapper. What I want. Uh, because at the end of the day, I'm going to end up wanting to see. I think I just want a little wrapper. Maybe when it's data bound up down button works. Um, I I don't think so. Only because so it's got the derived class, which I think is one of the reasons of what was making this difficult for me to see what was going on. Is it derives from spinner, which kind of makes sense. Um, but the on button click, I assume pointer wheel change, forward focus, they all boil down to this on spin method, which then just raises the event just fine. It's just and yeah, so their catalog of their sample here, they register up for on spin from the control, and then they use it to iterate through a collection of mountains, it looks like, which is fine, right? Like this is kind of functionally what you would expect. So when the button spins, it goes through and changes it up, which again, totally fine. I get it, but I think I this is going to make me want to wrap this guy up in a drive control that I can handle it. Um, if that's going to cause me problems if I name two things, eh, whatever. We're doing it. Different namespaces. We'll deal with it when it comes up. Let's see. So let's do public class. Uh, Because then, more importantly, when we get to doing the UI for these things to trade them out with cool models, I've already got a custom control to thing. Uh, Turns every button press. Yeah, and I think that's actually happening in ours. But that's part of why I want to um, add in a control so that we can start seeing these rotors happen. Let's see here. So let's see. Bin. Or actually, can I override it now? Look at that. Okay, so that will call into here. I think we can just do E handled through, and we'll still let the base go. Um, but I think then what we can do is we can just do. Uh, we'll need the rotor itself to know what the next value is, right? Because each of the rotors is slightly different. So we will actually need. This is wrong. Can't just add a to it. Yeah, because this is the set. This is the order of the letters of where they go. Where is that actually held on to? String wiring. Uh, in spin event args has the spin direction. Yeah, but I think what I want to do is have this rotor control bind to get itself an instance of this rotor and be responsible for how the visual representation of this rotor should look in the UI. The only disadvantage is this guy here. I think I actually do want this, but this is not the right increment. This is what this should actually be is wiring sub position. That way it gives back the one that we actually care about. In code, I would raise an event if the current position is equal to the notch position. I don't think it's going through an event, but it is leveraging this guy here. But that's all in the tests. Yeah, because this is where it is effectively doing those steps of the rotors to be able to go through and push them. So on each uh, on each encryption, step the rotor forward, step rotor forward, step rotor forward. This is why I want to test it on some of those other ones because I think that's the other thing is I've done short enough strings so far that I'm not exhausting all the rotors. And to your credit of saying, hey, we should test with different starting rotor positions. kind of what I want to see. I think I am going to rename it though, because I think what I want to do is get this guy a rotor to play with, and then let him be responsible for watching when that rotor changes. And I think that's where that event is going to come from, Izzy. And then I need Avalonia data bindable property. None of those are right. Isn't it bindable property, or what do they call their dependency property? Properties. Styled property. That's the magical thing. See, I a styled property because I think this is what I want is a styled property coming up. Yeah, I think this is what I'm looking for. But in this case, I think I'm only doing a styled property so that I can bind in a rotor. Lorem ipsum generator for the test. Ooh, I kind of like that. That's not a bad idea. Wait, copy the whole station. Copy. Let's see. That way I can do this. And I want to do order property and then boom, boom. Then go up, expression body the thing, expression body the thing. No, don't be an idiot. Um, that seems incorrect. I don't want to add a owner for a property. I want to declare a new one. Panel. Not quite right. Not quite right. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That thingy. This. Then it is rotor control type rotor noble name of rotor. Okay. Now we have something of that nature. I believe we have there's a validate default value, blah 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 blah. I want to know when it changes though. I guess it doesn't really matter because I can check it here. If rotor I still need to register for the event, but on the spin, I can do this. And then content gets rotor dot do that. Do we really not have a step backwards? Guess we do only have a step forward, don't we? We can actually, I don't think we want to be stepping on all of these. I guess it doesn't matter here because ultimately these things are just setting position. feels like I want to just do the math and bring it backwards rather than doing all of this stuff, right? Because I can do rotor position plus equals 25, then abuse the fact that this thing does a modulus under the hood. I think we can get away with that. And then all we need left is when this guy changes register up for event. Let's get this guy plugged in instead. Let's see. I need something like this. I need this controls. Controls. So controls. Fit. Rotor control. That nature. There. Then let's see. Rotor. Binding. Left. Now I just need to go and this guy. Actual left rotor. I don't think I need to then just straightforward him. That'll go like that. Shut up. Mining. Okay. Bothers me that I'm not. Oh, because this guy has a overridden it, and if you don't change it, it won't pick up the style. Where is the where do you set those up? State pseudo classes. It also in VS 2026 the decompiled stuff I've noticed looks funny. There is I'm trying to remember the Avalonia way of doing this. There is a way to do this where you specify it. I have to set up a bring it in. I need to do something of this nature and bring this in. Do it. Well, let's not get too. But let's make sure. Let's make sure it actually is a problem first. Carried away. Should be able to see happen. This much work. Oh, launch. Well, you're already launched. Not rendering. Why you know render? Why you know render? I think what I actually might this. Well, I guess I do want it to derive from button spinner. How do I inherit it? Do I really have to declare this floating button? I might actually have to declare a brand new one. Let's go back here. Add New item. Yeah, let's see. If I didn't spell it correctly. Aside from that, minor detail. Oh, copy this and stop debugging my content. Add new item. Spell it correctly because I copied it. Now I've got that set up. Now I can just take bits I care about here, slap them in. Yeah. And then rather than deriving, we encapsulate and we go with buttons, something like that. Then over here, do button spin. That guy. Done. Thank you. Uh, yeah, you either need to inherit a default template or provide one of the generic example. Yeah, and that's I believe effectively what I was seeing here, right? Of putting something in, which kind of makes sense. And this is one of those, like, I think idiosyncrasies between it and WPF, whereas WPF, they have the default style property that is set in the base class, and so you can pick it up without needing to declare something, whereas Avalonia wants to find something that matches. Fine, but I think doing it as a user control probably saves me a little bit of effort anyway. Because I think I want all this. Then I don't actually need to set that up for something that is kind of just going to be a one-off. Do this, I think, and then this becomes button spinner dot content gets that, and then file work now for me. Go from name. Oh, you didn't put it in the namespace. Oh, I remember this. Remember this bug. The default template for it doesn't fully specify nested namespaces. Breakers. Oh, I put the controls in the wrong. That's better. That's better. Sign width, I don't know. 80. Sign height, 50. That's too. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so that gets me to there. That gets me to there. That gets me to there. Then I thought there was a way to pick up when this change. Binding mode, enable data validation. There is. Where is it? Like property. At it. What is the type of changed? An eye observable or something? Okay. Yes. And what is your problem? Not convert lambda expression because it is not a delegate type. Yeah, I don't. What was the type you want? I observer. Oh, I feel like there was a shorthand. Data. There's a way to get this. Functionally, what I want, and the eye observable. There's like observer. The eye observable interface is simple, but I remember there is a library I pulled in when I did this before that has a simple delegate observer. Remember what it is. Okay, so we're going to go back to it. I want to see this much work before I get too carried away. And I will say the speed at which this thing launches is impressive to me. If I go up, right, it comes in here, increase rotor step, great. Then rotor position character becomes a K. That's correct. Again, M, F, K, J. So that spins around, and I think if I go here, double check it. Ring setting. How does this guy here, if I do a apply setting, am I misinterpreting this? Oh, because I've done the wiring, not the ring position. Oh, I've grabbed the wrong value. I've grabbed the wrong value because I actually, we don't want the position, we want the ring setting for the UI. Believe so. Let me just make sure I'm not doing this off. But the ring setting is actually what we care about. Yeah, I believe ring setting is actually. I actually want to go down here. I want this ring setting. Then this just becomes char a plus ring set. That's actually what I want. Okay, and then on the rotor itself, I need to know every time it steps. Uh, that right or okay, Izzy, what's I'm getting confused now on ring setting versus on ring setting versus position. Rotor. Do, 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 do. View, rotor offset. Rotor type 1 of enigma without any ring offset. It can be that A is encoded as E is encoded as K. I think that this code takes for granted. So hold on, I want to make sure I'm following this properly. Type 1 of enigma A. A is encoded as E. So A. And okay, there. Rotor number 1. Right? EK Enigma 1. I think that's how ours is set up. EK, yes. Okay. Great. That second. Notch. Notch is at Q. Okay. Ring setting is the starting position. When I do this, I guess what I'm confused about is how come, like on this emulator that they have, because I thought ring setting was starting position too, but they have ring setting here, but then they have initial position as a separate thing. So what am I misunderstanding? There's absolutely a position and a so here, right? If I apply and then I just hit a letter, right? The position is what incremented. If I do B here, set this to G, right? And I hit a letter, it's moved the position to H. Uh, Note the notch should have a setting. Not sure why they call it that. I think they have their terminology backwards. And well, and that's what I'm wondering is something feels a little bit wonky. And that's why I was trying to make sense of the difference between these things. The ring settings are used to change the position of the alphabet ring relative to the internal wiring. Notch and alphabet ring are fixed together. So the ring setting offsets. They probably have specified a ring setting as where the notch is located. Because if I'm understanding this properly, the idea here is the ring setting allows you to effectively spin these letters so that they're at a different point on the rotor. Right? I think that's what I'm understanding. I understand why it was so hard for people to crack this. Notched ring, right? Because there's the little notch in the ring. Marking dot for a contact. So they say the ring setting is really the notch location. Okay. So I think what I then want to do, at least for purposes of testing this thing initially, I want to focus this thing on position. I think is where I want to do this. So I think I made myself a little. I wrapped myself around the axle a little bit. Let's get rid of this because I think it's just making my life confusing having this here. And I think what we want to do is I actually want to do position. Um, uh, I want to do it. Same thing I was doing, but I think I want to just do it up at this level so that I pull that through. The idea. And then uh, there is a RX. You have a 3D printer. I do have a 3D printer. Um, though I don't currently have it set up because it was pulled apart during my office remodel, but I am building it a new little home right after I finish my bookcase. Did you see the book? Were you here when I showed off the my new door, Izzy? Or were you getting coffee? May have done that while you were getting coffee. Uh, I just search RX back. I think reactive extensions has, yeah. I think this is the magical guy that has the eye observer stuff that I'm. Yeah, because I think this is where I get the ability to do this. Because now I've got my extension methods here. And then this becomes, so when rotor changes, uh, quicker, I could post one of the ones I showed you. I was driving at the time. Okay. Here, I'll pull. That's my door. I'm very proud of it. Huh? Huh? Not bad for a guy who doesn't know how to do any woodworking. Okay. So this is when the rotor comes in. This is where we need to get position changed. Public handler. Okay, and then we come down here. Break this up. Value not equal position. Otherwise, why would you set it if something of that nature? That gets me to there. And I come back here and I go rotor change. I should expose it as an eye observable instead. Don't make my life harder than it needs to. Not yet. Then we do this, and I think I'm gonna wrap this up in private void that position. Wrap that guy in there. Position. Basically, logic in places. Position, and then that current. That goes there. That goes there. Now, in theory, I should be able to see. Oh, wait, this is the left one. Crap. All this work, and I did the one that moves the least. Hold that thought. Add in the other. Rotor? Right, rotor. Add something. That. Boom. What did it call? Did I not expose them? Private. Yep. Okay. Go rotor. Go. And middle. There we go. Okay, so that gets into there. That gets into there. U has them appropriately bound. Yeah, bippity boppity boo. Yeah. Okay. Now, what we should see, if I send one letter at a time rather than a whole string, I should get to watch these things move. For example, if I type in H, boom. Then I'm going to get this guy set back at to the beginning, right, of apply settings. But you just slightly to the side because you're big and obnoxious, and mine's small and purdy at the moment. Right, so if I go here and I hit H, get an I, right, and we're at B, and then I go, rather than H, I go E, an L, E, L. Okay, that's fine. Now, if we're going to jump this guy down to say P, right, and I'm going to jump this guy over to I type a K, I, A, an M. Got to hit apply settings. Let's see. How good is vibe coding with Avalonia? I don't know that Avalonia makes a big difference one way or the other. So, like, one, I think because the base technologies, Sharp and XAML, have been around for decades, like that, it's not that big of a deal. It has all the usual problems of if you don't constrain it, things go wrong. But I think it's decent. I have I don't think any extra problems because of Avalonia than what I would with some other UI framework. But I will say my experience is biased towards only XAML based frameworks. Okay, AAP, type K, I get an I. Okay, so that works. Okay, so that seems to be aligning. Now let's make this more interesting. Let's do H there, and I don't know, W there, apply. So WHQ, we're going to go WHQ, and we will type another letter K, gives me a B. I type a K, a B. We're cooking with fire now, baby. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so I've got basic rotor positions now in. So that's something. That's something. I don't necessarily love my UX, but you know what? It's something. What I heard is commit immediately. Commit immediately. Kraken, write a commit message for me. Write a commit message for me. Yeah, UX is kind of garbage. Again, make it work, make it right, make it fast. So we're just trying to make it work for the moment. Okay. Then I guess the other question is, do we then add in? So they clearly have this set up for position. We should probably add in something similar for ring setting as well. And I think we have a nice advantage of um, position spinner. We'll just name that. And then, did I not copy the whole thing? We'll do that. And let's go in here. I don't, ring setting doesn't get changed on us. I don't think anywhere. Yeah, it's not being pushed forward or back. Check use on this. Setters only called from tests, and we know that the field is only set here, so it's only set in the constructor. So we don't technically event yet. There is no use case for it, but we should give ourselves the ability to set it. If we go here and we do something like stack panel, right, and we're gonna do this, and I think we should do a label name or I guess we text block for now. We're not doing anything fancy. Um, text position that in. Then we're gonna do one more spinner here for what did they call it? Setting. The Wikipedia article called it setting. Let's see. Setting spinner. That. Come in here and we will we need to name this to something more like position spin. Then we will do ring setting spin dot spin. Oh, great. Send me a method. Then something akin to this, but not quite this. Um, because I think we have to call step. Remember, kind of overkill because it's duplicating exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, I think what we're gonna well gonna do position plus plus, I think. And then the reason we're doing plus 25 rather than minus minus is because then we don't have to deal with the negative case. You do minus, you can go down. Versus this, knowing that the setter on here is gonna restrict it if it goes over the top. We always just go. But then we're gonna do the same thing here, only for ring setting. Ring setting. And then we are going to do ring setting spinner, content, that nature. Now we should have the ability to muck with all of our ring settings as well. We can kind of test against that real quick. So we're going to pick arbitrary letters of G and P and E. We're going to see what this gets us. Right? So if we come here, oh, we didn't set up the date. This much. Oh wait, this is rotor position spot. Um, yeah. There was a potential minor leak there, but we're only ever setting this one again. I'll leave myself a comment. So I need to go to HI, and side, and then W, and R. Okay, and now we need a letter. The letter S. For super. We're looking for an O. Let's see, apply settings. So we want to see this guy light up. Something no worky. Okay. HS. I have these. WHS. Fly. Script. U. Okay. Okay, it is working. Okay, that was weird. But H. Okay. Hi. Have ring setting work. Okay. I think then that gets us functionally working. It's not pretty. It's kind of ugly, but it functionally works. And I think that's what we were going for. It works. Next up, we make it better. Um, Push and open a PR. And actually, here. Kraken, do me a favor. Write me a PR title and description, and then I'll clean it up. Hopefully, it's not too big with the entire brand new project template in there. Great. Integrating a functional Enigma machine core. Isn't actually that bad. Okay, so let's see. Add core logic. Play platform Avalonia UI, rotor controls, project infrastructure. Very good. Pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to open a PR. Izzy, PR open for you. I'll leave it up to you because I assume I wait for you to merge them all. and then go from there. I think next time maybe we'll work on a better UX, something that doesn't quite suck, and maybe try to style this out a little bit with prettier key typing examples. Um, but at least it looks like it's functional for an Enigma 1. Probably will need to add in other stuff of like picking rotors and that kind of stuff as well. But I think this at least gets us started, and it's a starting point. It is a starting point, and that makes me happy. Functional Enigma machine, hoorah! Raw. Okay. I think for now though, I am probably slowly dying out. Let's see, Cocoa Beans. Hey Kevin, appreciate you teaching the .NET class on Tuesday. Thought I'd slide by to say hi. Hey Cocoa Beans, great to have you. No problem. Tonight we were building a desktop app for a German Enigma machine because why not? Because it would be fun and interesting. So, but yes, feel free to drop in whenever. I always do .NET stuff. Shouldn't say always. I mostly do .NET stuff. Um, yeah, Izzy, it's definitely a starting point. Like I said, I think next time I will probably look at trying to make the UX not suck because it's ugly and kind of yucky. Um, but at least we can go from there, right? Like the step one, get something that functionally replicates an Enigma machine, and then we start making it better, and then we add the config options of all the other stuff, and then modeling and other 3D printed stuff, and yes, happiness, happiness. So it'll be awesome. So very much looking forward to it. Again, if anybody's interested, it is open source. Free to pull it down, take a look at it. And yes, so I think I am going to check out because it is getting late for me. But as always, happy coding. See you everyone next time.